All right, guys, welcome. I have two special guests with us today. I'm super excited. I got Domonique Rodgers,
Thanks for having me.
OG,
Yes, sir.
and Dave Wichard,
Hey, thanks for having me.
Golden Child. So we're gonna go today over dealing with adversity in this business. Now, some people could go, Dave, what adversity did he deal with? Because what Sean called him a curve buster, right? Came in and hit. He went like 12 for 12 with 12 grand slams. But he's dealing with stuff now, right, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all deal with stuff. I mean, I think for me, it's always like I was a sprinter. Like I'd run, maybe not as fast as him, but
Probably faster.
I ran pretty fast. But I always want to do things fast, and I found that when you're running, it's less pain if you run fast because you don't think about it as much. So it's the same thing in business. I took that approach, and I think, but there was challenges. They're just you just keep moving, you know. So we always had them. I think for me, growing and scaling the way we did, it was I need to have enough money to pay my staff, you know, because we actually scaled it so fast.
Right.
And then when the bonus came in December that year, and then it just kind of got a little better. But even I'm just being transparent. I mean, until this thing, you know, till integrity happens, which waiting on that and moving towards that, you know, there's months still, even with the bonus as big as it is, where I just don't have a lot of money at the end of the month.
Right.
That might blow people away, but it's true because I just invest it back in, and we don't really buy a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
No doubt.
Can I speak on that, man? Because I think the pain in growing fast is greater than the pain in growing slow. And I think the grain in growing slow, you kind of there's this sense of you may be there forever. That makes sense. And I think the pain of fast growth is like, oh, this is temporary. You know what I mean? Although I think it's probably more intense.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got to deal with things so much faster. You see stuff like you think about his 18, 24 months here with the company. You're like, dude, you went through what it took folks 6-7 years to go through.
Correct.
Still, it's all the time thing. It's like when folks go as a new agent, they go, well, you know, what should my what's the learning curve like? You know, like, well, what do we say? Your first 100 appointments, right? Some folks take 6 months to run 100. Some folks do it in 3-4 weeks.
Yep.
Same level of, you know, people they sat with. It's just the time in between that gets you used to it, and it's harder to get out of it. And I can be on the building the business side, and I want to stay in the sales, but like I can be like, well, this is my 10th year, you know, and we can go, well, I should be here, or I could be doing this, and it's all true. But I do believe that it's true that you could, but I don't think it's true that that was the plan.
Right.
You know, like I don't think that was the plan. The plan is I think you get things when you're ready for them. You know?
Yeah.
But when it comes to going out there and meeting with our clients, we got to put everything about where our learning curve is behind us, because we got to go serve folks. You know what I mean? We got those clients aren't going to wait for you to get better at your job.
Right.
You know, it's not about you to get more courage to get out there and drive to them or meet with them or push them a little bit, you know? And I think when you're in the field, it has to be this truly, truly selfless deal. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to, otherwise it gets pretty monotonous. You know, it gets pretty like, oh, well, I'm doing this again. If it's all about the money and all about, you know, it's just, you got to realize that you're truly helping people and they don't care how much you know. They just want to know, are you a genuine person who wants to help me? You know, and the adversity that comes with selling, there's many things. It could be your cash flow. It could be your transportation. It could be your kids. You know, it could be you have a mom that needs help. You have a dad that needs help. You have all these things that could pull you away as an independent contractor, right? And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to pass it over to one of you guys about this whole job to independent thing, because there's a lot of things that seem like adversity when we're independent because we have nobody telling us that we can't help our mom.
Right.
Make sense? We just don't. It's like, I'm going to do it. And then you end up, that becomes adversity now because you know, does that make sense? Am I saying like that whole job and where you have to be versus your independence and what you allow seep into your life to become adversity? Sure. How you deal with that?
Well, I mean, it's in the beginning for me, it was easy here because I'd been in self-employed before. I'd been right. So that came out when I first got it, and we owned a mortgage company, and it wasn't hard to make money. So I could have a ton of time. Now, when I got to here, I quickly realized, like, dude, this has got to stop, or else I'm going to drown. And that's the thing. People get so excited about the freedom that they exploit the freedom, and then they wind up going back to prison on a job, right? Same day. It's like, you treat this. My schedule is more tight than a lot of folks that have corporate jobs, right? And none of y'all, I mean, I see what you, like, you don't have to do what he does. He just does it because, A, he really wants to help other people. And that's why I said, like yesterday, I said, when the conduit between what you're trying to accomplish, your goals, your ambitions, your why really is left wide open to the work ethic, dude, you'll grind. But the stuff that blocks that off is mindset, negativity, fear. And I watch all y'all do what you do, and I go, they're just fearless. Like, I watch what Dave does when they're running a charity event for the Dream Center, and he's writing a check for $10,000. I'm going, dude, 2 years into this, if I'd have gave you $10,000, Jamie would have cut my head off. You know what I mean? Like 100%. Now, but Dave's like, I just keep giving it. And I talked to his wife, and Harry's like, yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. He's writing checks that his butt can't cash yet. And Dave's like, well, if I just keep doing the right thing. But I believe in that so much because I've seen it work over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So, dude, the mindset, and what's crazy is, I love what you said about it. Some people take 6 months to get to 100 appointments. Some people takes 3-4 weeks. But sometimes it's 200 appointments too, right?
Correct.
Because some people just don't know that much. But every lesson along the way that we had in 8 years, he learned in 2.
Correct.
And he got through them a lot faster. Now, you go, how old are you, Dave?
52.
52. 45.
35.
Still immature to an extent. Same. I think by the time I'm 52, I'll be somewhat mature. Now, does that have anything to do with the growth? Like, did we stumble on stuff that we could have controlled a little better by not being so stubborn and immature?
Oh, dude, do you want to talk about that? Like, we as entrepreneurs, I can go men, okay? Your growth in business, your overall ability to help and serve, like even my quality of business, Frank, okay? Well, I hit the field hardcore 2020, all right, into 2021, and helped 300 plus families, okay? And dude, my persistency is like 95%.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And my placement, guys, my first year in business, I almost got fired. Everybody, you remember this. Dude, I almost got fired. There was a lot of agents at this company, and I was the only one. I was like number 1, 2. I had to be number 2 because Sean was number 1. So 2 or 3 in the company, and half of my business that I wrote fell off the books. And all of that was my lack of maturity, my lack of business acumen, my desire to win temporarily versus long term.
Right.
My desire to be on a leaderboard, my desire to, all of those things were very short-sighted. And what I would do in the home, okay, or on the phone would be, I would do, so you're like, whatever it takes. Well, whatever it takes when you're getting down to $12.50 a month and pushing draft dates out 30 days, that ain't whatever it's take. You ain't doing the right thing. It may feel like I'm doing it for the client. No, you're not. I was doing it to write one more app.
That's right.
And then that one more app turned into 20 more apps, 30 more apps that all fell off the books. So I go through this adversity that we go through in business. We got to learn from it and go, well, what could I have done differently? Is this happening to me or for me? You know, and now to talk about maturing, going into, like, now it's you're mature enough to sit back and go, Mary, you're 65. I've been telling you the truth the whole time. I can continue to tell you the truth, right? Yep. All right, cool. I'm not going to start knocking this thing down $30, $40, $20 a month. We all know you can afford it. There's something about me that's not allowing you to unlock the value with your family, but I know you care about them. All right. There's no way that less than $10,000 is going to bury you. So I don't even know why we would ever lower it. So $67 a month is what it's going to be. Like, do you have any problem with us starting this application and getting it rolling? If she goes, no, I don't want you to. You know what I'm going to say? Great. Have a good day. Shake her hand. Okay? Because I stood up for her. I didn't try to finagle my way in. I didn't throw a draft date out. I didn't do any of that. I stood my ground. But you know what happens a lot of times? Mary's going to go, you know what, Dom? You're right. Actually, let's do 15 grand. Yeah, that's $78.50 a month. No problem at all. It's going to come out of your bank account tomorrow with confidence. And that's all maturing, dude. That's seeing the game for what it's going to be, not for just what it is today.
Agreed.
And really helping the client versus let's massage them a little bit so that we can feel good when we get in our car.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So you're talking about maturing, dude. I think when you're talking about a lot of these things in the home, it's a big deal.
I think that's why he was so good.
Yeah.
Because he just cares about people. The first time I met him, I'm like, first of all, he came in and blew past us. And I saw him in Vegas at the Founders Day meeting, and he was like, dude, I'm so glad to meet you. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you're Michael Jordan. I'm just got cut. Like, seriously, he's like, dude, like, without y'all, I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm in awe watching what you're doing, but it was genuine. And I could tell when somebody's fluffing me, right? I think that's why you were so good from the beginning, because he had that right out the gate. Like, he cares about people more than he cares about the money. Well, you see that, right?
And you say out the gate here. See, Dave had a lot of maturing to do in life and other places. I'd love to hear, you know what I mean? Like, there's some of this stuff that I'm probably saying that he's going, dude, I remember that was me. Does that make sense? I did that. You know what I mean? So, and I have to look at Andrew Taylor, right? And I'm like, Cat's mature beyond his years. And we say that, but it's like, it is relative. It's whatever. And Paul McLean, you know what I mean? So you'd be like, age is it's irrelevant and everything at the same time. I think it's where your mind is at. I think when I was 24, I didn't have this direction of anybody telling me what to do,
right?
Because they wanted me to do better. Maybe I had some folks telling me what to do so I could be in a position I can do so. Like, I mean, but not so that I can be better. Sean risked offending in order to help.
Yes, he did.
You know, and really made it something that, you know, when we stay on this adversity topic, like, it was never that bad. Does that make sense? And I think when you're working with agents, I can call them up with some really what I thought was terrible things, and then by the end of it, I'm like, oh, that's no big deal. Can you give us some examples of any of that, like something that, like, in the field, or you thought was like, man, and then he just minimized it and gave you perspective on how to move forward?
Yeah, I can. I want Dave because, dude, he's so good. But one story real quick. Like, I had set the most appointments I ever set in a week, and I ran them all. I got no-showed half the time. The other half I sat with and didn't close. And at the end of the week, I called Sean. I was like, dude, like, this is, dude, because you always think Sean's like, go work harder. Well, I never ran this many appointments and failed miserably. I was like, this has happened to you, right? He's like, no, you just don't care about people. Click. Like, I'm looking for some empathy. My man goes, nope, you must suck and not care about people. Click. And when he hung up with me, I was like, that's... And then I thought about him going like, you know what? I was so worried about making the money that I wasn't worried about the client. And he knew if he just gave me a little bit of an out, I would have ran with it. So he gave me 0, like less than 0. And I'm going like, it's genius. But that's what I needed at that point in time, right? And he does it. I've seen him talk to you. But Dave, can you go through some of the little growing pains? Because when you grow that fast, there has to be pains. Like you said, with the money, the staffing, having not enough, and it going out way faster than it comes in. People think you're just sitting on a pile of money. And, dude, it's awesome that you put it all back in and then you give it away even when you don't have it.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a principle, right, that I was taught watching my mom and just watching other people, and then being around Sean and how he gives back. So it was easy for me to do that. Always want to give more to my church, more to charities, help people. That's just where my heart is. But thank you guys, because, you know, they said we're talking about this, and it's like at the end of the day, we have the best system, we have the best leadership, we have the best people in my mind. And so where it became easy was because I had put, 19 plus years in, working my tail off, getting my head kicked in, and And even if you go back to my 20s, I mean, obviously in other businesses, you know, cell phones and pagers and got in that business, then other insurance companies. So I had a lot of experience of getting my teeth kicked in. And I also realized the faster you go through the numbers, the easier you learn, the faster you learn, and you can expedite that time. And that's what happened. I mean, we just, you know, I learned all that stuff, and I got the bumps and the bruises. You know, there was weeks where I was like trying to figure out how I was going to pay payroll. But I always told my wife, I was like, hey, but I'm going to go, you know, protect 10, 15 families this week. It's going to be fine. And every week, week in, week out. And there was only 2 weeks the entire year that I didn't do that. And it was like 6 or 8 families, you know. So I worked really hard and duplicating what these guys had done, you know, and following the system and listening. And the truth is, I mean, I listened to everything. I always say that. I listened to everything Sean told me to do. And if I had to change something, or I'd call Andrew, I didn't change anything without asking somebody that knew what they were doing, whether, you know, at the time we didn't know each other as well, but I called Grady or, you know, Trey or whoever with experience and learn. So I had all this wealth of knowledge around me that I think a lot of people don't use. And, you know, when people call, it's like I just tell them the same thing that someone's passed on to me.
Sure.
You know, it's not like I have it all figured out. All I did was just take the system and all the great things that we had and work really, really hard, which I knew how to do that. I do love people and I care about them. And so it was easy for me to transfer that to the people. And I always just tell them, you know, it's like Sean does to us. I mean, he can beat you up a little bit, but he's the best I've ever seen at breaking you down and build you back up.
Right.
And so it's easy to have those direct conversations, but always tell them that you love them and you care about them. And I know my team knows I care about them all the time. And it was the same way in the clients, like you were talking about. If we go in the home and really show that it's about them and always make it about the other people around us, we're always going to win in my mind. And so I just think it's just been a blessing to be in the right place at the right time. But I prepared for this. I think God prepared me for this in my life. A lot of you have gone through other stuff.
Sure.
Take the hard work, come here and apply that same work ethic here, and you're going to win. And stop questioning things and understand and don't reinvent the wheel. If you're listening to Frank, you're listening to Dom, and you're listening to Gray, they're not talking about it because it doesn't work. They're telling you because it does work, right?
Right.
I mean, so why do we question it and have 15 other, we tell you all the time, they're on podcasts everywhere. Just listen to the stuff and go apply it. It's not that deep, right?
No, it's not. And now, but dude, it's exhausting at some point in time. Where, I mean, your energy is contagious, first of all, but you're coming here at what, 50, 49? It's got to work.
Almost 50, yeah.
Right? It's because you've had your teeth kicked in.
This was 50.
I mean, right, somewhere around there, 49, 50. Yeah. You had your teeth kicked in all the way up to that point. You could have easily said, nah, I can't. Like, I'm just going to take care of me. Now, where did you get that? Because I believe what changed, so in 2019, so in 2018, October, I had half of my team leave. Okay? We went from 320 families a month to 149. Right before conference, didn't even walk across stage as a VP. I was pissed. And then after that, at that conference, I texted Sean. I said, I'm going to start giving 10% of what I have to this orphanage. Wow. Every bonus, everything. And I'm doing it because I'm watching you do it. And by March, we were at 360 families a month. Like just 3 months later. And then we went to $1 million a month inside 9 months of that. Million or what, 1,000 families. Right? So I'm going like, this is crazy to me. But where did you learn that selflessness part? Because to me, I believe if you give it, it comes back tenfold. I've witnessed it. I've seen it happen over and over. I've seen it with you. I've seen it with you. I've seen it with Sean. I've seen it in my own life. It's just not easy to people have alligator arms. They're like, I don't want to give it up because they're afraid to lose what they have. That's what I think. They're afraid.
Yeah. I mean, I learned that watching my mom. I mean, she just, we didn't have a lot of money, but my dad, you know, he worked hard and corporate job, Norfolk Westerns we worked with. And for years, but I would just see her giving back to people all the time, always trying to help, always, you know, take my kids. I'm just saying, like, she's just as much a mom as she is a grandma. You know what I mean? She just loves on people, gives. And so I think our family was super blessed by that, just watching that. I believed in that in general, you know, doing my best to give 10% or more as I was going to church and everything's growing up. And, you know, I'm sure there was times where I didn't do that as well as I should. Now I just, when I'm praying and whatever God prompts my heart, if I have a really hard time, honestly, not giving.
Yeah.
I have a hard time not saying no to people and wanting to help them. So I think we got to be, you know, smart about that in some ways. I just think that if God's called me over here, then I'm here and I pour into people anywhere I can. And I just don't think about it that way. I know it's going to help everyone around us. And I think sometimes we focus so much on ourselves and the people that are in our life, which is super important. But the funny thing is, Frank, I probably spend as much time talking to other people in FFL that are not even part of my team,
Right.
trying to help them the best I can. And I don't think of it that way, but as I look back over the last couple of years, and as we started having some success and people were asking whatever, I was blessed to just be able to pour whatever I could into them, and then my team would grow. But I don't spend much time with them. Like, it's kind of weird like that. But
That's the way it works.
But how it works, right?
Right.
And so I've learned a lot of that. But I think life wisdom, the things that you've been through, the things that you've been through, and people are coming here. You got a little bit, the younger guys, I mean, they're doing it fast. Some of these guys, like you take Michael Samuels, he's 19, whatever. I mean, he's still got stuff to learn, but he just went to work,
Yeah.
He's simply working, grinding, whatever. And he's probably still trying to get, I mean, I'm just using him as an example,
Yeah.
but not everybody has that fast success, but at the same time, I think you can if you apply all the principles that we've learned throughout life and apply those, caring for people, loving on people, working really, really hard. I know that sounds simple, but it is. If you just go to work every day, you show up with the right mindset, you show up with the right attitude, and you learn from people like you guys.
Well, and here's the difference. And Dom, I want to say, like you having the morals and the values that you have aligning up with this company is like the perfect storm. And that's the thing. Like, people don't believe what we do is real until they really see it. And that's what you wish people could see faster, because it would change their world. How about you, Dom? Because I've watched what you've gone through in this business, and with some of the troubles and the obstacles that were in your way, where I said it to you this morning, I don't know how many people would have been able to weather the storm you weathered and still be here now, an integrity partner. It is absolutely inspiring, because most people would have quit. And I'm going like, dude, I'm in awe watching this stuff, because I cheer for you. I don't get jealous. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, when you do something amazing, I'm like, dude, that is freaking awesome. Like, I'm like, dude, check my boy out. Like, that's me.
right, that's right.
I'm not like, oh, he's a punk, right? But some people are like that.
And I got to know Dom through podcasts. Like,
It's
I
awesome.
know that guy's story. I know about all that.
Right.
I was like, I know his mom, and I'm like,
Yeah,
It's just
your
great.
mom's
It's great,
also
yeah.
like, I watched. She was great.
Feel like
Like
I know her,
watching
right?
her, dude. If you'd have seen her at conference, she was
Yeah.
so fire. But can you kind of go through that a little bit? And
Well,
I know Sean was a rock for you, but
Yeah.
you needed a lot more than just Sean, because that was
Yeah.
big stuff you dealt with.
And well, this is my mom really stepped up. You know what I mean? And this is a two-part type of thing, because we're talking about adversity and giving back and who to give back to, and it's like in 2015, 16, without my mom, I may have want to be in business. You know what I mean? But I may have a job at like the corporate office.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, I would have a job, but she helped me like keep this thing rocking. And but through that, we got it rocking, and we needed to grow our business, and I was still paying my mom as if we had the same. We had nothing written up. It's my mom. Does that make sense? It was just kind of like, yo, here's what we're doing. And, and once that kind of stopped on that end, I was still paying her. And I remember Sean, he asked me about something. We were doing something, and I was like, hey, dude, I can't afford that. And he goes, well, why not? You know what I mean? And I go, man, I'd pay myself this. I'd pay my mom this. He goes, what? Like, is she still? And I was like, no. He goes, man, this is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But it's necessary. You're going to have to talk to your mom. And you're going to have to let her know that you have a business to build. And you can't help her like that right now. Frank, I tell you, dude, that was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had in my life.
Right.
Most nervous conversation. Not that like she was going to do it, you know what I mean? Just, I felt like it was my lot. I felt like that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
But through that, she got married. She bought a house. What I found out to do is I was doing a lot of enabling. And I'm so happy that Sean was willing to risk telling, because
that's
my
your mom,
dude.
no doubt.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, that's my mom. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like there's like and her name's on the account.
That could go one of two ways.
It's like, so I'm telling her that like you can't have like what's ours. It's actually ours.
Right.
But we needed to take a break, and now looking like where we are and what we're able to do now, it's crazy. So I was speaking to anybody who has family and you feel like that's your lot. You feel like talk to them, talk to somebody else, call me up. It's hard, but it's something that you're going to have to navigate. Because I think a lot of us who come from, I wouldn't say I come from nothing, but I came from nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like there's different nothings, be clear. Like I always had cereal. Sometimes we didn't have milk and I cried, but it was what it was. You know what I mean? But like we just have this, this feeling of that's what we're supposed to do. And I think with proper mentorship and people around you, if Sean wasn't around me, dude, I would have been swamped into everybody else. You hear about these athletes and these celebrities or whatever. Did you make it? We make it out. So we got to bring everybody with us. I was watching that Mike Vick thing.
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
that's his downfall.
But that's
what you do. No doubt.
That's what you believe.
Of course.
You're supposed to do. Does that make sense?
100%.
So talking about giving back when you can, but giving back when you want to, and when to the people that you truly love, dude, to tell them no. Right. To tell them to fall through with that promise, but with the belief, and my mom had it, that this wasn't it, that wasn't it, and we got so much more to give, dude.
100%.
So,
dude, I love it, guys. Thank you so much, Dave, Dom. I can't even tell you how awesome it is to
been an honor
to be partners.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I know, Dave, you're right at the finish line, so it's a wrap, right? It's just that final push is
dude, you're in the race, dude.
You're in the race.
You're in the race, bro. And it's that team thing. I know Dave. I love him so much because he just wants to be on the team.
That's right.
You'd be like, well, why? What does this integrity thing mean to you? I was like, dude, I just wanted to be on the team. Yeah. I'm sorry. They were talking about like stock, and they were talking about, I was like, dude, you don't understand? Like, I just got a credit card like a year ago. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about stock. I just got a credit card. Like, it's not that deep. And if anybody's watching this, they got to be like, man, if you're a team person, you work your butt off, you're loyal. Bro,
this is the best team ever.
It's for you. It's for you, man. So I love you, bro.
Yeah, I love you too,
you're in the right place.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
Right on.